Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the blues of January 2016. This month's shout out is going to the 13th Wolfman. He's a very nice YouTuber and he has a cool collection if you look at the background of his videos. And I have to admit, I haven't seen many of his videos, but I do enjoy the ones that I have seen. And he's definitely a guy you want to subscribe to. So go check him out, the 13th Wolfman, and I don't think I need to tell you where the link is. Okay, first up I got a nice stack of DVDs here, and the first one is the Anderson tapes, which I haven't seen yet, but it has Sean Connery in it and a very young Christopher Walken, and it was directed by Sidney Lumet, and you cannot go wrong with Sidney Lumet. Even his lesser films are good, so can't wait to check this one out. The Anderson tapes. Next is The Hangman's Knot. Mediocre, but enjoyable. Randall Scott and Lee Marvin made another Western together 4 years after this one, which is called 7 Men From Now, and that's a much better movie, by the way. Next is Cowboy. This was a good one, good movie. Not the best Glenn Ford, Delmer Daves collaboration. 310 to Yuma and Jubal are better than this one, but it's still pretty good. And I know that Twilight Time is going to release the Blu-ray of this movie, and I might grab that one if it's on sale or something. But yeah. Castle Keep. Now this was a very surreal war movie, excuse me, with some strange humor in it. Some of the humor was funny, others were not funny, or maybe I just did not get it. But I thought Peter Falk was good. Lancaster was good as well. I mean, he's good in everything really. But Falk, he really stole the show in this movie, in my opinion. But yeah, it was decent, but definitely not for everyone, I must say. Far and Away, I got this one for free. I haven't seen this movie for many years, so I need to revisit this one very soon. Enemy Territory. I've never heard of this movie before, but I've seen it and it wasn't bad. It was not bad. I also got this DVD for free, so I cannot complain about it, but I wasn't expecting much. And you should not expect much of it. It's an okay movie. But it kind of predates The Raid and Dread. It's about this small group of good guys trapped inside this apartment building. They're trying to get out, and at the same time they're being hunted down by a large group of bad guys, a gang who calls themselves the Vampires. But yeah, it wasn't bad. I like the artwork, by the way. It's kind of like a VSS artwork, but it's also very misleading because it's Jan Michael Vincent. It looks like he's one of the lead actors, but he's not. He only has a very short appearance in this movie. He's in it for about 5-6 minutes in total, maybe even less than that. But he is one of the lead actors, Ray Parker Jr., who is the same Ray Parker Jr. Who was the singer of the Ghostbusters song. And the girl is supposed to be Stacey Dash, but she doesn't look like Stacey Dash at all. But, it was not a bad movie. Oh yeah, it also has Tony Todd in it. He plays the leader of this gang. Yeah, Enemy Territory. Now these are some DVDs that I got in a trade. The first one is the first and only season of Fear Itself. Comes in this nice package. Not really the best way to put these DVDs in, because as you can see, yeah, there it is. It is loose and cannot get stuck, unfortunately, but it's a nice little package there. I haven't seen any of these episodes, but it's I believe this is some kind of a follow-up to the Masters of Cinema, that only lasted 2 seasons. Yeah, nice package, this one. Fear Itself. Next one is Pie. I'm sorry, in Dutch we say P, but in English, P means something else, so I'm just gonna call it Pie. But this is the debut movie of Darren Aronofsky. I've seen this long time ago. It's very low budget, very experimental, and yeah, I can't wait to see this again. I remember liking it. I didn't really understand much of it, but I did like it. Mr. Vampire, haven't seen this one yet, but this looks a lot of fun. Kung Fu movie with vampires. Here's the original version of April Fool's Day, the one from the 1980s with Biff from Back to the Future. And I love this artwork. This is, great cover, this one. I haven't seen the remake, and I'm not going to bother watching that one. Here is the Spaghetti Western double feature DVD with Boot Hill, which stars Terence Hill, Bud Spencer, and Woody Strode, and Django the Bastard with Anthony Stephan. Anthony Stephan is my least favorite actor in spaghetti westerns. He's like a poor man's Clint Eastwood, you know what I mean? But I do like this movie. I like it more than Boot Hill, to be honest. And this is a nice release from Retro Vision. And speaking of spaghetti westerns, I also picked up the Stranger collection from Germany. There are 4 movies in total, and this set contains the first 2, A Stranger in Town and A Stranger Returns. Now you can also get these movies in the USA, but they are part of the Warner Archive collection, so they're not original DVDs, they're DVD-Rs. But these are original DVDs. Here's the DVD of the first movie, and then you have 2 different versions of the second one. This is the US version, which is the widescreen, widescreen version. And then you have the original format, which is pan and scan, aspect ratio. But this is a fine release from Germany. The transfer looks absolutely beautiful. I wish they put these movies out on Blu-ray, because then the transfer looks really beautiful. But yeah, for DVDs it looks really good. Tony Anthony, who plays the hero, he's not your usual type of hero in spaghetti westerns. I mean, first of all, at the beginning of the second movie, he has a pink parasol, and you don't see Clint Eastwood having something like that, do you? But it's a fun character, and this is Frank Wolf, who plays the villain in the first movie, and then Dan Vedas, who plays the villain in the second one. Now his character was supposed to be played by Klaus Kinski. But Klaus Kinski had an accident. He fell off a horse, and then the horse fell on him, and he cracked his backbone, which almost paralyzed him. So he had to be replaced, of course. And yeah, that's a wonderful release. Now I've already, like I said, there were 4 movies in total, and I already had Part 3. I have this for a long time. It comes in this small hard box. This is The Silent Stranger, aka The Stranger in Japan, aka The Horseman and the Samurai, and a lot of other AKAs as well. And I also picked up the 4th and final installment of the Stranger collection, Get Mean, which has been put out by Blue Underground. So I got all 4 movies complete, And these are just fun movies, you know. They're not the best spaghetti westerns ever made. Definitely not among the best, but they're just fun, you know, they're entertaining. This one, however, is my least favorite one. You know, this is okay. There's a lot of strange moments in this movie, but it's not exactly a western. It's more like a historical action adventure. But this movie came out in the 1970s or the mid 1970s, and around the time, you know, spaghetti westerns were becoming more and more unsuccessful and unpopular, you know, and yeah, it was nearing its end, you know, and so they made something else with this entirely. But yeah, they're just fun. I mean, personally, I love the first two. I think the first two are the best ones. But they're all just fun, you know, and I'm glad to finally have the entire collection complete. Next up is Highway to Hell. Now I'm very happy that Kino has released this on Blu-ray. You know, I've seen this movie countless of times on VHS back in the early 90s. And it also has an alternative cover art. You can see here. Here's Hell Cop. Great character, this one. But this is such a fun and bizarre horror comedy. And it was directed by Dutchman Ate de Jong, who also did Drop Dead Fred. And he also made a few Dutch and German movies. Now, the last Dutch movie that he has made is about the bombing of Rotterdam. And I've always wanted to see a movie about the bombing of Rotterdam because, you know, I was born in Rotterdam and my parents and my sister are from Rotterdam. And there's a lot of Dutch films about World War II, but there's never been a movie made about the bombing of Rotterdam, which is, you know, a terrible but important event in our history. But a few years back, Ate de Jong finally made a movie about the bombing of Rotterdam, and he completely fucked it up. It's one of the worst, not only one of the worst Dutch films I have seen, but just one of the worst films I have seen, ever seen. It was, you know, it was an exact copy of Titanic. Only has a different setting, of course, and different background and different history and all that shit. But it was very much like Titanic, and but instead, you know, in that movie, the girl dies instead of the boy. Now I know that's a spoiler, but believe me, I'm doing you a favor. It's just a god awful movie, and just don't watch it. But I do like this one, however. Highway to Hell. Very happy to have this finally on Blu. Next is Dead Hunt, or Yukon, which is the title on this German Blu-ray. It has Charles Bronson and Lee Marvin in one movie, and that's all you need to know, right? I mean, it doesn't even matter if this is a good movie or not. I mean, thanks to these two heavyweights, you'll like it either way, you know. And but luckily, it is a very, very good movie, and a fine release from Germany. I have to say, the transfer looks wonderful. Yeah, great film. Next is Ghost Town, which I've never seen before, believe it or not. You know, when I was a regular visitor at my local video store, I walked past the VHS tape of this movie many times, and I also got it in my hands and looked at it many times. But for some strange reason, I never rented it. You know, I never watched it. I don't know why it is, but it had a different artwork. I'm not sure if this artwork. I think it was a different artwork. But if it had this artwork, I would have immediately rented it. But anyway, better late than never, right? But I have seen it, and I really enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable horror western, and I just love the artwork. The artwork looks amazing. The Omen Trilogy, finally got this in my collection. I got this for a very good price, by the way. This one misses part 4, which is absolutely not a bad thing because part 4 is absolutely bad. Something you do not want to remember. But anyway, I'm glad to have this finally in my collection, the Omen Trilogy. Next is Bone Tomahawk. Now, this is the second Western that Kurt Russell has made in a short period of time. The other one was, of course, The Hateful Eight. And in my opinion, this movie is much, much better than The Hateful Eight. Now, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy The Hateful Eight. But not everything that Tarantino touches turns into gold, I mean, it was too long. The ending was very disappointing. But there were also good things about it. The cinematography was amazing, especially the snowy landscapes. That looks absolutely stunning. The music by Ennio Morricone was fantastic. And, well, I'll talk more about The Hateful Eight when I get the Blu-ray. And I do want to get it on Blu-ray. But anyway, Bone Tomahawk. This is such a magnificent film. It's it says a great dialogue, strong characters, and I completely agree. I mean, the dialogue is just brilliantly written. The characters are very interesting and very fascinating, and that's something else that The Hateful Eight does not have. This movie has sympathetic characters, and The Hateful Eight doesn't have that. I mean, Kurt Russell was good in The Hateful Eight, but I did not like his character. I do like his character, though, in Bone Tomahawk. And, yeah, just a magnificent film, very well written and directed. It was written and directed by S. Greg Zoller. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but this is a name to remember. I'm very curious what his next work is going to be in the near future. I'm very much looking forward to that. But yeah, just an incredible film. There's nothing I can say really, other than I highly recommend it. Go check this out. I do, I know that Kyle Chakra65 also said this about this movie. There are some very nasty moments in this movie that is not for the screamers. So keep that in mind. If you have a weak stomach, better skip this one. But if you can handle nasty, very violent moments, go check this movie out. Bone Tomahawk. Next is Itchy, which means I see. But officially, this movie is known as Goodnight Mommy. It's basically about these two twin brothers, and their mother comes home one day after a face surgery. You can see it here, by the way. And they have a strong feeling that their mother is not who she appears to be. She has changed somehow. And they're trying to find out what happened to their real mother. And it's a very well made, very well acted movie, by the way. It has an eerie atmosphere, which I really liked, and visually it looks amazing. Unfortunately, however, the twist at the end, I already knew what that was. About an hour before it was revealed, I just find out about it, and it was the exact same twist from another movie, which of course I'm not going to tell you which other movie that is, because not only would I spoil this movie, I would also spoil the other movie for those who haven't seen that one yet. But yeah, I already found out about the surprise, the twist, which is very unfortunate. But it did not ruin the movie for me. You know, like I said, it's very well made, and it's just an excellent little psychological thriller with moments that are unpleasant and uncomfortable to watch, especially in the final 30 minutes. But yeah, I do want to recommend this movie. Goodnight Mommy. Next up is The Gift, which is the directorial debut by Joel Edgerton. Now we already know, here he is by the way, he plays the villain in this movie. We already know that he is a great actor, but with this movie he proves that he is also a great writer, director, and I'm very looking forward to what else he has as a writer director in the near future. But this is a fine thriller, by the way. Excellent performances, also by Jason Bateman. I mean, no, I'm not a fan of Jason Bateman, to be honest, but I think he was really good in this one. I like Rebecca Hall. She was excellent in this film as well. But believe it or not, like Goodnight Mommy, I saw the surprise ending coming. And believe it or not, like Goodnight Mommy, the surprise reminded me of another movie. Not the same movie, of course, as the one that reminded me of Goodnight Mommy, but still, and again, I'm not going to tell you which movie it is because it will spoil this one and the other movie. So, it's not the most original twist that I've seen, but it's still, it's a fine thriller. Really, it's quite alright, this movie, and like I said, I'm curious to see what else Joel Edgerton has up his sleeves in the near future. And last but not least, what is an update video without Arrow? And of course I got a new Arrow title here, Deep Red, which is Dario Argento at his best. And it is such a beautiful release. Limited edition, I believe this is sold out now. I heard somebody saying that this is sold out. I'm not exactly sure if it is so, but I do believe so. And I don't know how many of these copies has been made. Is it 2,000 or 3,000? Not really sure. But I mean, look at the bonus contents. It's just packed again. And it also has the the complete original soundtrack by Goblin and composer Giorgio Gaslini. Yeah, a magnificent release, this one, with some reproductions of the original lobby cards. There's 3 discs, the original version and the export version. I believe this one is shorter than this one. This is the one that Argento preferred. This is the director's cut. I'm not exactly sure what the export version is, though. And there's the soundtrack. And of course, we got a booklet and a poster inside as well. So another phenomenal release by Arrow. Great. And that was it for this update of January 2016. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.